Thousands of years ago, camel bells echoed across the desert. The winding Silk Road extended across the vast Eurasian continent, giving humans the chance to cooperate and integrate. Attempts to open cross-cultural dialogue are immortalized in simple pieces of pottery and depicted in beautiful murals. They're sometimes documented in old poems, or even brought to life through vibrant music and dance. Emmerin Bakit, a young man from Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, China, is currently studying at the Tajik National Conservatory. He has long wished to explore the origins of ancient melodies and revive the gradually fading traditional tunes of the Tajik people. The ancient songs and dances of the Sogdian, echoing at both ends of the Silk Road, tug at his heartstrings. Music and dance are the first stirrings of early civilization, resonating across time and space before scripts ever could. Entering the Tianjin Museum, this tricolour glazed flask from the Tang Dynasty catches Emmerin's eye. On the body of the pot, yellow, green and white glazes flow and mingle. Two fish, joined by their heads and tails, create the vessel's very structure. Unlike the full, rounded forms typical of the Central Plains, this flask bears the exotic flair of camelback journeys and horseback riders from the Wei and Jin dynasties between the 3rd and 5th centuries. The dancers, with high noses and deep-set eyes, almost step out of time itself to perform. They wear pointed soft hats, brocade boots, and flowing garments that seem to carry the windswept sands of Central Asia. Scenes of foreign music and dance passed down through the ages and standing as witnesses to history were first immortalized on poetry by ancient craftsmen. The question is, why?
我是中国塔吉克族，音乐和舞蹈就像我们呼吸一样。来到塔吉克斯坦学习之后，我也感受到了中亚地区的乐舞传统，只要亲生相近，不管我们来自哪里，音乐和舞蹈都让我们彼此靠近。
Having stood for thousands of years, the Pamir Plateau has witnessed the continuity of civilizations in Central Asia. Tajikistan is nestled in its embrace. Right in the heart of Central Asia, it's also connected to China by shared terrain. This was a key location on the ancient Silk Road, a bridge between Eastern and Western cultures. Here, outside the National Museum of Tajikistan, in the capital of Dushanbe, a lively outdoor concert is underway. The festive atmosphere is to celebrate International Museum Day. Accompanied by traditional Tajik melodies, children dance together, freely expressing their natural talent for singing and dancing.
Но это наше хобби. Мы любим музыку, потому что с детства это в нашей крови. Таджиков и узбеков — это музыка в нашей крови.
In Tajikistan, music and dance are more than just performances. They are the rhythm of life and the sound of the soul. As descendants of the ancient Sogdians, music flows through their cultural memory, tracing its roots that stretch back thousands of years through the land's magnificent valleys. In Penjikent, a city in western Tajikistan, lie millennia-old ruins that vividly testify to the glory of Sogdian civilization. In the 5th century BC, it rose to become a prosperous city-state. However, the southward advance of the Turkic cavalry in the 8th century crumbled the city, which eventually disappeared into the dust of time. Historian Shodmonobova Shabnam has been documenting the weathered traces of broken walls and stones for the past decade. Through studying ancient murals and inscriptions, these remnants of Sogdian civilization have been preserved.
Мы стараемся сохранить наше культурное наследие, и как мы поступаем? Есть метод засыпки. Когда вот археологи работают, они открывают памятник, фиксируют все это, потом шурфы ставят и опять засыпают почвой. Правитель сагдийцев в древнем Пинджикена Деваштич, мы по находкам, по которым жилым комплексам, по которым находкам, которые мы нашли на стенах, росписи на стенах, там идет праздник, все в нарядных, все в музыкантах, у них музыкальные инструменты, тор, дутор и других струнных инструментов. Мы можем с уверенностью сказать, что в древнем Пинджикенте очень хорошо праздновали праздники, и они жили здесь очень творческие и музыкальные люди.
In the ruins of the ancient city, a wooden dancer figure, scorched by flames, stands silently. Her body tilts slightly, while her soft waist is twisted into an elegant posture. It's as if at any second she will spin to the beat of a drum. This was typical of their architectural style, the Sogdians carving their love for dance and music directly into their living spaces. Roofs, beams, and murals were all adorned with swirling figures and vibrant rhythms.
Танцовщицу, и которая нам показывает именно ее ожерелья, ее драгоценные, скажем так, изделия. И здесь у нас расположен экспонат, который называется скульптурный фрагмент. И здесь тиара с изображением дракона, который очень хорошо показывает именно культурное общение, именно торговые отношения, именно сагдийцев, в первую очередь древнего пинджикенца, вот этого города с Китаем.
An ancient road winding through mountains was once a trade route to the east for the Sogdians. Camels carried silk and spices through the wind and across the sand. As the sounds of the five-stringed pipa and the melodious eagle flute filled the air, people performed light, whirling dances expressing their love for the arts and boundless creativity, carrying these passions across the vast central plains. Abdugani Mamadazimov, chief researcher from the Institute of Eurasian Studies at the National Academy of Sciences of Tajikistan, has long been devoted to tracing this cultural memory. In the 1990s, he pursued a doctoral degree at St. Petersburg State University and was drawn to Chinese history for the first time. He has since dedicated himself to researching Silk Road heritage.
Это была дорога, далекий путь, да? Например, от современного Самарканда до современного Сиана доходили за больше года. В каждом караване не только были торговцы, и люди были, которые знали древние эпосы, странствующие музыканты. У древних китайцев был очень большой интерес к музыке. И во время Тан было очень известно.
شمعی رو هست در دلم برق جنون جذب او برق جنون جذب او 中原地区的音乐也是影响到了当时的粟特音乐里边，粟特音乐节奏感是很强烈的，舞蹈也是非常优美。
As camel bells echoed through Yumen Pass, whirling dancers entered the imperial court of Chang'an. These became the soul of the 10 divisions of ceremonial music and dance, a collection of court performances. Emperor Xuanzong adapted the Indian dance music Brahmin and commissioned his favorite concubine to perform it. This became rainbow skirts and feathered robes, blending Sogdian melodies, Indian chants, and the spirit of the Central Plains into one harmonious whole. Today, this cultural convergence survives only in fragments. Yet echoes of the Silk Road still resound, reflecting how, more than 1,000 years later, we continue to compose new chapters of shared prosperity. The mulberry wood lute, plucked by Maya Masayid, bears the marks of time, lovingly passed down through generations of the family. In 1996, a young Maher Masayid followed his father on this unusual path. He is familiar with the names, structures, and timbres of various traditional Tajik musical instruments. Those objects not only reflect his family's craftsmanship, but also the memory and continuation of the nation's legacy.
پدر من اینا ساختگی های زنده کردگی این در تاریخ خوانده همین اسباب زنده کردگی های در اروتپا و پدر من باید اوستای کورتسوس با همین تشم همین مونده پیشمون و چی میکنم همین دمره کشوله همه وقت نه دمره هم کشوله همین دمره رسیم میگیرم و یه مشاقی میکنم بازی میکنم کاش من میگم گفتم اون اصلا آرام میشه و با دمره رسیم میمونم با تشه را میگیرم بعد گوخ ذوقم به سرود میخونم.
In Masayid's eyes, crafting instruments is not simply a means for survival, it's a source of true happiness. He not only creates instruments for performers, but also repairs them for young enthusiasts of traditional music. Alisher Sultan is one of them. For Alisher Sultan, these melodies connect him to his hometown and also resonate with the world's wider communities. By singing ancient Tajik tunes and Chinese pop songs, music has become his passport across languages and cultures. At the Tajik National Conservatory, a guzheng from China shines under the light. Golden flowers and birds glimmer with warm luster on the wooden frame. In 2014, China's First Lady Peng Liyuan presented the guzheng to the school, hoping to encourage more musical exchanges between China and Tajikistan and to carry on the melody of friendship. In this valley, 1,000-year-old Sogdian patterns are passed down stitch by stitch, weaving together the Silk Road's history and its future. Music knows no borders. Its melodies thread friendship into colorful strands, moving through cultures, allowing hearts to beat in harmony.
快乐相随，常心飞，常心飞。就有相会，聚尽美聚。